Hello all, in this tutorial video I'm going to show how to design a simple reaction time task on PsychoPy. A simple reaction time task is a task where a stimulus is shown on the screen. For example, a square is shown on the screen and the participants will have to press a specific predefined key on the keyboard as fast as possible, and you measure the reaction time. So in this case, a trial would start with a fixation cross, fixation on the center of the screen. It could be a cross, it could be a small circle at the center of the screen that will trigger the participant and make the participant expect the stimulus that is going to come on the screen. And the stimulus in this case is just a square, and as soon as the square comes on the screen, participant will have to press the space bar. So that's going to be our task that we are going to design. Now, each trial sequence is a specific routine in PsychoPy. So, when by default you have the trial routine here, and each trial routine has a specific timeline here. Each routine has a specific timeline where it starts from 0 seconds and goes all the way up to as many seconds as you want. And this is where we populate our stimuli, our responses, and whatever we want to do within a particular trial. And in this case, first stimulus that we need is a small circle at the center of the screen. So you go to this tab and click on the polygon component. So double click on it, you will see the polygon component and its properties coming up. We can give a name, let's call it the fixation, which is this center dot that is going to come. It's going to be a circle, and the start time is going to be 0th second. It should start at the beginning of the trial. And how long do you want it to stay? We want it to stay for, let's say, 500 milliseconds. So there are a couple of ways to specify when to stop that particular polygon. One way to specify is to give the duration, total duration the dot is going to stay on the screen. The other strategy would be just to give the stop time. So that means start time is 0.1, what is going to be the stop time. So in this case, let's go with the stop time at 0.5 seconds, which is 500 milliseconds. 1 second is 1000 milliseconds. So now we have a fixation, starts at 0th second, goes all the way to 500 milliseconds, and shape is going to be a circle. Now the second tab is the layout. This specifies the size and position of the circle. Where do you want this where you want that particular circle to come, and what should be its size. Now we can specify all this in different units. It can be in degree of visual angle, centimeters, pixels. Let's go ahead and click on pixels, and what should be the size. So let's go with let's say a 10 by 10 circle, which is not going to be a large circle. It's going to be a very small circle which will look like a sort of a dot at the center of the screen. That is going to be our fixation. And let's change the appearance. Okay, let's go with the default. The fill color would be white, the border color will be white, and so on. So let's not change it. So now we have in the timeline a fixation that is going to be going from 0 seconds to 0.5 seconds. The next component that we need is a square. Okay, so let's go ahead and double click on this polygon again, and this is going to be target. So this target is going to be a square, and it's going to start the point where the fixation ends, which is 0.5 seconds. And let's again change the stop to time from duration. And how long do you want it to stay? Let's say we want it to stay for 5 seconds, and the shape is a rectangle. Now in the layout, we change this spatial units again to pixels, and if a rectangle with equal side is a square. So let's create a rectangle whose sides are 100 by 100 pixels, Again, let's go with the position. By default, it's at the center of the screen, 0 0. Let's stick to that, and again, appearances, the fill color and the border color, let's stick with the default. Now we have a white square that is going to appear at 0.5 seconds and stay until 5 seconds. Okay, so we have the target. Now, the third component that we need is a response. So now scroll down and click on the response tab, and a whole bunch of responses that is available. Let's go for a keyboard response, and in the keyboard response, again we have to specify the time. So what time should you start collecting the response data? So we would want the data to be response to be collected from the moment the square appears on the screen, which is 0.5 seconds. And again, duration, let's keep it blank. If we keep it blank, the screen is going to stay until a response is made. If you change it to 5 seconds, the screen will go into the next trial after 5 seconds. So let's keep it blank so that we have enough time to make the response. And what are the allowed keys? We'll just remove all of this and just stick to spacebar, or maybe stick to Y. Okay, so your task will be to press the Y key as soon as the square appears on the screen. All right, so we have the 3 components: fixation, target, which is a square, and the response where you have to press Y key. Now let's go ahead and add an instruction routine. So we need to give participants some instruction about what they are supposed to do, right? So this is how you insert a routine into your task. So click on insert routine, say you want a new routine, give it a name, let's call it the instruction routine. And now it's going to it's basically asking you, where do you want to place it? Do you want to place it before the trial routine or after the trial routine? Of course, this is an instruction. We need it to be placed before the trial routine. So I press here, so you can hover it around. So when you hover the mouse, you can see a dot moving, so you can place it and click. You have the instruction routine added here, and now you press on it, you have a fresh timeline. You see, each routine has a fresh timeline. So this is the timeline of the trial routine, and when I press instruction, it has a different trial routine. So what goes into the instruction? Some text, right? So double click on text stimuli here and give the text. So something like your task is to press Y when you see a square. That's going to be the task. And of course, we need the instruction to end, right? So press space when you are ready to start. Okay, so that's going to be our instruction. Time will be from 0 to until they press a key. So let's keep this blank. Okay, so now we have the text here, and since we are telling them that okay, you have to press space bar to start your task, we need to add a response again, a keyboard response. You double click on the keyboard, and again time will be from 0 until they make a response, and the keyboard keys that we need to allow is just the space bar, and it will move. And you see this option here, force end of the routine, which means when this is done, it goes to the next routine. So that's what is going to happen. Okay, so now we have the instruction routine, which is a text and a response. That is a response of space bar, so that it goes to the next trial routine, which is the key routine for us. Now we want the trials to repeat, right? So if you run it like now, the trial is going to repeat only once. It's going to happen only once. Now we need it to happen over multiple repetitions. So you can add a loop into this trial. So this is how you add a loop. So you click on insert loop, and then you hover around your mouse and go to this trial and press. Then the loop properties will appear, and we can specify how many repetitions you need. By default it shows 5. You can change it to 50, 500, as many as you want, and it's going to repeat itself. You can see the trials loop is added. Now finally, let's add one more routine to thank the person for participating. Again, I'm hovering around the mouse, and to at the end of the trial, after the trial loop, I add this trial routine, and you have a fresh timeline again, and this is going to be a text, and the text would say thank you, and you want it to stay there for maybe a couple of seconds. Thank you will stay there for a couple of seconds, and experiment will end. So this experiment will start with an instruction, a trial with a fixation, a square, and a response that's going to repeat for 5 times, and then thank the participant for their response, for their participation. All right, now let's run this experiment. So you run this experiment by hitting this green button, and I did not save this. Okay, first let's save this experiment. Save as, and go to the folder where you want to save this experiment, and let's save this as first experiment. Okay, let's save it like that. Okay, so it's saved. Now you press on the run experiment button, and the experiment should run. Okay, it's asking for some participant information, so just give a number there, and this is the window that is going to show the experiment for you. So here is our instruction. Your task is to press Y when you see a square. Okay, press space when you're ready. Okay, I'm pressing space. See, now we have the square coming. I'm pressing Y. Okay, Y, Y, Y. Thank you. So 5 repetitions and thank you. So we had the instruction, the trial, and thank you. That was what we specified. We have successfully completed our first simple reaction time task. And if you go to this file, you can see a new folder named data is saved, and you can open this Excel file and take a look at your data. So these are the 5 trials that were part of your experiment. You have the reaction time, how fast I press the key, that is again logged in this file. So this is the key thing, key response reaction time. So the initial one took a little longer, and towards the end I was faster. All right, so that's our first experiment. Now let's sort of play around with the with some setting here. Okay, firstly let's see. I know this is the properties of our target, which is a square. So I double click on this, and the target properties come, which is basically a rectangle, which is with the size of 100 by 100 pixel. Now let's change the position. I want the square to come on the left hand side. Okay, so if 0, 0 is at the center and you go to the left, you basically are moving in the negative direction of x-axis. Okay, so if you change it to, let's say, minus 200, okay, or let's say make it more drastic, minus 300, this square should appear at the left hand side, or basically on the right side of your screen, but when you're looking at the screen, to the left of you. And in the y-axis I'm not changing, so in the horizontal, so in the vertical direction I'm not changing, and keeping it at the center of the vertical axis. So let's see how this is going to play out. I'm just for the sake of convenience changing the repetition to 1, so that we don't need to do it many times. And we can see how long this, whether square is going to come in the left hand side or not. Now also I'm just going to show you one more setting. So if you go to this setting symbol here, you can change the experiment settings. So if you click on that, there are many things that you can change, but I'm going to show you one of that, which is show info dialog box. You remember there was a participant information that was asked at the beginning, right? If you don't want that, if you're just trying out with stuff and you don't want that to come and give the response, give the participant number all the time, you just uncheck this, okay? Or alternatively, you want to add more, you can even add more more information of the participant. For example, what is the gender of the person, what is the age of the person, and so on and so forth. So let's uncheck this so that you don't want to see it over and over again. Okay, so I'm going to run this, and hopefully it will not ask for the participant information and directly go to the trial. Of course, we have to look at the instructions first anyway. Okay, here's the instruction. I press spacebar, and here is the square that is on my left hand side. So that's going to be the end of the, so that is going to, that is how you change around the position of the target, or any position of any stimulus. It could be an image, it could be a polygon where you want it to move around, or you want it to be shown at a specific location on the screen. So we change the x-axis to the negative side, it went to your left hand side. If you want it to be on the right hand side, or you change it to a positive or plus 300 pixels, it's going to move 300 pixels to your right. Okay, that is it for the first video. I hope the basic setting is clear, but we'll going ahead we will see more and more interesting components that can be used for running more complex experiments. For now, thank you very much.